energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Kristian Livolsi, welcome to the hot seat. It is Wednesday afternoon. Happy New Year to you and to all of our viewers and listeners. It is 2024.
Happy New Year, Simone. And despite it being a wonderful new year, we can't get rid of the eCam lag.
That is true. Every week it's the same situation, even though everything is fine before you hit that go live button, which has been very, very frustrating. But let's not focus on that. I wanted to get straight into the hot seat today because I know that you're going to have a lot of things to say on this topic. And I wanted to talk to you today about money and about cash flow. And I think it's really interesting to see, depending on what industry you're in, whether you've been really active in your business over Christmas and New Year's, or whether you've switched off, how you feel about your money situation right now. A lot of people talk about money mindset and that kind of thing. So I really want to dive into some money questions for you to kick off this session. So I'm just going to get straight into it with my first question. I wanted to ask you, how do you navigate the cash flow challenges of that off-peak season? So if you're a business owner that really took the last 3 or 4 weeks off and you haven't really been generating much in your business over that time, if you took a really big break, what do you do coming out the other side of that? How do you manage that?
Hi, Blake. Perfect on cue. I love it. Hey, buddy. How are the holidays?
Yeah, so good.
Good.
So we're going to go to the cricket tonight, but it's raining, so we don't know if it's on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right,
So look,
back to the question.
Great question. I mean, look, navigating cash flow challenges during off-peak seasons, also during peak seasons, actually just requires careful planning, strategic adjustments, and sometimes innovative thinking. So the best strategy is by proactively managing your cash flow throughout the year, and you can mitigate the impacts of off-peak seasons and maintain stable financial footings throughout the year by doing so. So I guess regardless of where you are, in whether it's off peak or peak, careful forecasting and planning. You know, using historical data as well as your future projections to forecast any shortfalls is critical, and we do that with all of our clients. Without saying, you know, I talk about this in each of the masterminds, whether you are in our, you know, customers and demand program, whether you're in Evolve, whether you are, you know, one of my one-on-one large clients that, you know, has, 100 plus employees turning over $50 million, or whether you are, you know, the solo entrepreneur who runs, you know, a massage business in our customers on demand, and you're making, you know, 75 grand, and yes, you close your doors for 4 weeks, that's zero income and your overheads are still there. So forecasting, absolutely. But one thing that I always advise any new person that joins us is work towards building a cash reserve of at least 3 months of wages and operating expenses. And if you don't have this now, start planning for it. Okay. A few dollars a week into an account will protect you. Will also, that kind of money will also help you when people decide that they want to leave your organization unexpectedly. And let's say that you haven't been managing your annual leave entitlements very well, and all of a sudden they have 12 weeks of annual leave. if they're a $80,000 a year income earner, which is about the money these days, that person is entitled to circa $10,000-12,000. That's going to give you a cash flow
Yeah.
problem for if you don't have a certain amount of money floating around. The other thing you can do if you get caught out, make sure you can reduce your expenses. I've got a rule: if it doesn't help you make money, cut it. It's that simple. Particularly if you're a solo entrepreneur. So many people have so many subscriptions, they fail to go back and look at the subscriptions, and when you cut them out, you might save $200-300 a month. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $4,000-5,000 a year that could go into that 3-month cash kitty. So
Yeah.
if you're a solo entrepreneur and you shut for 4 weeks, and all of a sudden you're paying yourself $4-5 grand or $5,000-6,000, you're in that early stage or in that stuck stage, then $5 grand is what you're going to pay yourself. So saving that in unnecessary subscriptions is pretty cool way to go. Think of household subscriptions. People who have KO, Optus Sports, BN, whatever it is, BN Sports, then have Paramount, Disney. I mean, you start adding that up. Foxtel was pretty bloody cheap. At $100-200 a month. So always go back and audit that. Diversify your income streams in order to offset those off-peak or shoulder periods. Really important. Maintaining flexible staffing arrangements is really important too. That allows you to scale up and down. So have a mixture of full-time, part-time, and casual employees where you can. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, even though you might want to be a wonderful boss and put everyone on full time. You're actually putting the entire company at risk if you do that. Tighten the noose around receivables. Really get sharp on collections. People get really sloppy this time of the year, particularly around December, and don't pay their bills.
Yes.
Private health insurers do it too. So
let's pause on that, because that's actually my second question. So let's segue straight into that. What are some of the strategies that you should be doing if your customers are not paying their bills over the Christmas period, or you haven't followed your normal processes because you've been shut or something like that, or you've taken a break? What are the things that you should be really doing to make sure that people are paying their bills?
Look, this is a great question, and the answer is actually really simple. Get paid up front. You'll never have this problem, and you'll always be cash flow positive. We bill monthly in advance for all our services.
Yeah.
And people say to me, well, that's easy and well for you. And no, you just, you don't have the confidence to back yourself. I have no hesitation in telling people how much I charge, how much I earn. You either can afford me or you can't afford me. And if you can't afford me and you can put a compelling argument as to why I should work with you to help you, then I'll listen. But if it's not compelling, nothing's going to make me change my mind. You can't devalue what I'm worth. And everyone's got an opinion on what someone is worth. You got a blocked toilet, you got a blocked pipe at home, and everything's flooding. You're less likely to complain about the $900 bill you're going to get from the plumber who comes out and spends nothing more than 15 minutes. Right? So I find it quite interesting when people say, you charge $2,000 an hour, and it's like, yeah, but if I can make you $100,000, which is pretty likely, then you should really just be quiet and be grateful that it's only $2,000. So, and that's my attitude. So again, if the first way to mitigate that is charge up front, and if someone isn't prepared to pay you up front, then that's a red flag too. If you doubt me at all, then you shouldn't work with me. That's the start of a really bad relationship. But what you can do is, if you're not in a position to do that, and some people aren't, right? Like, you go to a restaurant, you can't get, unless you're a cafe and you order at the counter, you've got to take the gamble. That person's going to eat, enjoy your food, and then walk out and pay you, like, before they walk out, hopefully. But what you can do is have clear payment terms, Simone. You can have fully executed terms and conditions that clearly outline, who owns the goods until those goods are paid. and also that you can recover those goods without consent. Now, keep in mind that there are many laws around this. If you sell solar, once the panels are installed on someone's house, they belong to the person that owns the house. So if you haven't gotten paid, good luck getting paid, right? Regardless of the situation. That's just one of those freaky laws. Payment reminders in Xero or Mob are really easy. However, I always say use text as to support it, and make calls. Don't just rely on email. We've forgotten that we're humans, right? People can hide behind the screen. I can hide behind the lag, and ignore the situation. But the other really good one, the proactive one, is actually incentivize early payments. One of the things that I do and have been doing, and I do for my clients, we will actually negotiate with suppliers to pay them on delivery, and we'll often get a 2 to 4% discount. Okay, so that's really the cost of money, or the cost or the risk of money. So for example, if you want to, you're a sole entrepreneur and you do a little bit of flying here and there, and flights can be expensive. Get a reasonably good low interest credit card that's linked to rewards. Negotiate that you're going to pay people on delivery. Use the credit card in the 30, 45 day free terms that you get. Don't call it out and not pay it, because then you pay 25%. But also then accumulate frequent fly points. Now, if you pay up front, you get a discount of 2 to 4%. Then you're not paying the merchant fee, are you? Now, you've also got the 40 days up front. There's so many ways to skin the cat. And it's funny how many people just don't know. It's funny how many advisors don't know, or even accountants who don't give that kind of advice to people, because, oh no, that's dangerous. You're putting yourself in a difficult position. What's more dangerous? That you're trading insolvent. So do your credit checks on your customers if you've got bigger customers with large lines of credit. Nothing will beat having a strong relationship with your suppliers, and communicate often. Don't be afraid to ask for your money. So many people I meet, they go, oh, I haven't got someone who hasn't paid me for 4 months. Well, have you picked up the phone? Oh, I'm scared to ask. Are you kidding me? Pick up the phone and ask for your money. Right? Come on. So yeah, look, they're the things that I would do. I mean, as you can see, I'm pretty chilled and laid back about this stuff. It's to me, this stuff is quite basic. But it's unfortunate. So many business owners, even big companies, don't do this well, because they don't enforce the KPIs around it. I come along and I put in a whole bunch of KPIs and performance management tools to help those people actually, do it and understand the importance of it.
Yeah. I want to ask a little sub question on that then, because I love doing this as well. If you're in the position where you want to implement this and you haven't got it right now, where do you start? Is it like just emailing out to all of your customers to say, hey, we're transitioning our billing cycle? Or again, is it the phone call thing? Like, how do you actually make the adjustment if you've already got some kind of bad habits or things that you want to improve in your business processes?
Look, I would sit down and write a one-page strategy on the whole thing. I'd do it, at the back of the fag packet, as I've always say it. Normally, it's actually my big white desk with whiteboard markers. It's my art table, and I'll just map it out. Map out the touch points where it's going to be, and then I'll consider the scenarios that will play out. What will these people do? Will I lose any customers? But let's say that you've got a business that delivers a really good product, and you've got 30% of people who have declined payments. Gyms, this happens in gyms all the time, right? And we
when everyone goes on hold over Christmas and all that kind of stuff.
And we advise 3-4 gym groups in our portfolio, and so this is something I've had to work out very closely. And again, it's making sure that you are on top of this, and making sure that people just don't get away with avoiding those things. Whether it's a micro payment or whether it's a large payment.
That's really, really important tips. Okay, I'm going to move straight into my third question. And this is more focused around, what do you do, or how do you manage the situation if you have a really big or unexpected expense in your business? Say you opened back up, but to turn on all your computers and everything's just dead, and you're up for a big software bill, or something's broken machinery wise, or something kind of significant that's a big outlay at this time of year. How do you manage that and the mindset around, this is the beginning of the year, it's going to be a great year, and then what if something really shit's just happened to start your year? What would you do in those kind of scenarios?
Let's come up with a couple of real scenarios that have played out before and how they've been handled. It's COVID. It's the first 3 weeks of COVID. Nothing's open, and your cash flow's drying up, and you spill an entire cup of tea over your brand new MacBook Pro, and you've got no way of getting it, and you're
I'm
uninsured.
feeling like this is a very personal situation.
No. I'm giving a real example, but unfortunately for me, I am very well insured, and I was able to access multiple other computers that I had. But yes, I know other people where this has happened, where they've damaged something, they don't have accidental damage insurance at home, and sayonara, there's your $5,000 MacBook Pro, and you're a small business. $5,000 is a lot of money. I've been there. I've started, 80 odd ventures. I've been involved in 80 odd ventures, and every startup runs out of money at some point, and you've got to either raise the capital or do it. But for mum and dads and solo entrepreneurs, that's really hard. Something like a computer, it's the tool of your trade, particularly if you're a software engineer, a programmer, a website builder, social media, expert. There's a shitload of those, and they're all not experts. They're pretty rubbish. But there's also a lot of rubbish coaches out there that have gone and done a coaching course and think they can tell you how to run a business when they've never run one themselves.
I think you can actually get a life coaching certification for $7. I saw come up in my newsfeed the other day.
Wow. Then don't try and come to one of our Live with Purpose programs that will cost you $1,100 to attend for the day, but will change your life. Look, I think there is, and it might sound like I'm being a little bit facetious and a bit arrogant, but I'm not. If you did some of the things that I spoke about earlier, like for example, have 3 months of cash reserves for each, for whatever. Like in our business, we have 3 months of cash reserves in each company, and I also have an emergency fund via line of credit available at any given time. Right? We've got lots of staff in the group. I've got to be responsible for them and their wages. And it would be irresponsible of me not to have that level of protection. I never always had that because it was tough. So I made a conscious effort to get tough and put the appropriate coverage in place in order to do that. Ensure that your business has the appropriate insurance coverage. This can mitigate huge financial impacts in certain types of unexpected situations like damage. We had a building that we were tenanting, and the $160,000 air conditioner blew up. And in our lease, it said that we had to provide it, maintain it. It was just one of those things early in my career that I didn't actually realize that was on us. But lucky enough, we had machinery breakdown insurance that covered it because that was also in our lease. So we were able to do that. And also the landlord came and played ball and paid the excess on that and contributed because they realized that, perhaps that was not really fair that we would pay for $160,000 of plant equipment that belonged to them. So I've learned my lesson now. When you read a lease, you don't just read it yourself. You get 2 lawyers to read it from 2 separate firms, and you make sure that they're looking out for your best interest and you're not getting emotionally involved in taking over those premises. Now I also own the buildings, so it's different. What you got to do is you got to have a plan that includes cost reduction contingencies, redundancies, expense mitigation. They're all available. If you have flexible working arrangements, monthly
this is
subscriptions.
actually something I've heard a couple of times. Like people come back to work in the New Year's and then they're getting those resignation letters of people who have just decided that they're not coming back or they want extra time off and all those sorts of things. So now not only are you down those team members, but you have to pay them at the same time.
Yep. And then they'll also have the courage to say that, while they're on leave, a casual employee was entitled to public holiday days because that would be the normal rostered day on. And look, if you're a business owner out there and you want sympathy, don't come to me because I have to put up with this shit every day too. But there are really good bloody employees out there who do take ownership. Simone, Bonnie, we've got a great team. You guys really do take ownership. You love what we do. And it comes through in the work that we provide our clients and all the other members of the team. So
Yeah.
that's about building the right culture with the right people. But
Mm.
there are some proactive things that you can do in these situations. You can go and negotiate payment terms with all your suppliers. Get on the front foot. Don't wait until you're in that argument. People respect you a lot more and are more likely to support you in that situation. Consult your business advisor if you don't have a business advisor. Like me, like isn't a person like me. Then go and speak to your financial advisor and accountant, and take all that with a grain of salt, because in a situation like this, they'll shit their pants first and tell you to start, exiting everything in case you're trading insolvent. Ask them about the safe harbor rule first before you start panicking and hit the fuck it button. Anyway, there's my G rating again. I think that's the first swear word I've said the whole time. But and look, some people say to me, Christian, if you wanted referrals from accountants, you do a really bad job because you're always shitting on them. The truth is, I get a lot of referrals from accountants. They're just very good accountants. Um,
Yeah.
and you know why they're very good? They know their boundaries. They know what they're good at. They don't
Hmm.
go and sit there and try to write corporate strategies for people. We've seen the impact of the big fours doing really perilous acts of debauchery in terms of how much they're charging governments and people, and sending a junior with 1 year's university, 1 year out of university, to write digital transformation plans, and
Mm.
then billing it out at $1,000 an hour. I mean, there are ethics and principles and rules, and I'm certainly not perfect in any of those areas, but I certainly know the hardships because I've been there and I've done it. And so, if you're going to choose advisors, make sure you choose people that have actually owned 2, 3 businesses, perhaps even run their own businesses still. You can always get a great mentor that may not charge you anything. If that's not their line of work, you could probably get good advice from them. So in these situations, make sure you're getting good advice. Is really what I'm getting at. Good
Yeah.
sound advice from people that have weathered the storm before. If you can find those, then you are hit jackpot. So it's important that you also continue to diversify your product offering so that you can at least have multiple product offerings that are non-competing product lines or services, so that you can mitigate
Mhm.
that risk. But also, when something happens, let's say that your production line, you're a bakery and your production line, one of your main ovens falls apart. Make sure that you can, bake different goods in another oven. Do you know what I mean? You might not
Yeah.
have that one product line, but you can have something else. But
Yeah.
overall, it's just really important to adapt. Don't get paralyzed and
Mm.
just and do nothing. That's the biggest thing that you. That's the biggest way to screw it up.
Yeah.
It's not your circumstances that govern your outcomes; it's the
Mm.
decisions you make. So make a good decision.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for those tips and that advice. I just want to add one little extra thing on before we finish, and that is, I feel like in a lot of our circles and a lot of the people that I've spoken to, that everyone's feeling a buzz on 2024. They're excited for this year. A lot of people feeling like this is their year. If your year didn't get off to such a great start and you're just feeling a little bit like in your head in your business, what do you need to do right now to sort of jump out of that mindset and get going again, so you're not like just wasting the whole month? We're already halfway through January, which is crazy. But if you're sitting in a bit of a shitty mindset right now, what should you do to kind of get moving in your business?
Well, look, there's a small problem there. Apart from the fact that there's no one watching, according to Ecamm, and I think the stream hasn't actually gone live the way it was meant to. The If you're listening to this, the likelihood is you don't need that advice. You're in the right mindset. I mean, and most people that uh, follow me because they want an ass kicking throughout the course of the day somewhere, or want
Yeah.
something of meaningful value that's going to help them and support them. Not all advice is at a fee. So,
Mhm.
really surround yourself with quality people. You're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. Make sure that you hang around people with a positive mindset. Maybe go in honestly and vulnerably initially and say, hey, look, I got a really shit mindset right now. Life is pretty difficult. Um, is it okay if we have a chat, because you have a great mindset, and I don't really want you to solve my problem. I just want to be around someone that has. Now, if you're that person, be very careful that that person is not just a bloody victim who's going to intoxify you with their garbage, right? So,
Yeah.
um, you know, be really mindful of who you hang out with. People say, Kristian, that's a bit cruel, it's a bit harsh. Um, Unfortunately, you can't save everyone. But what you can do is make sure you save yourself in order for you to be able to save the other people around you. So, just like an aeroplane, a good parent, the instinct is to save your child first, but you're no good if you pass out and then the child dies with you, right? So,
Yeah.
you've got to put on the mask first so you can put on the mask on the others. So, it's one of those things. I mean, this is where Simone being involved in great groups, mastermind groups, advisory groups, round tables. This is where that value of all that stuff comes in. I got my first taste of that when I was in the Entrepreneurs Organization, which was founded by Vern Haynish. That was 20 years ago. I don't even know. I feel like I'm getting so old. Then, I upgraded to tech, to YPO. And then now obviously I own and operate our own. So, again, I have spent the money to learn the system and then to create a better system. I've spoken at a lot of tech groups over the last 4 or 5 years. So, it's not like I compete with them. Everyone has a different approach. A handful of our clients are tech members. So, everything serves a purpose, right? So as long as whatever you're doing serves a purpose, then do it with purpose. That's probably the last bit of advice that I want to give people.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
And be brave. The root cause of failure is actually inaction. So, don't be one of those people that's caught up in the inaction.
Keep moving forward, fail forward, as you like to
Fail
say,
forward.
and remind us of all the time. Yeah. Kristian Livolsi, thank you for your time and your insights as always. Another excellent episode of The Hot Seat. I don't know where the viewers are, but I'm hoping that people are watching this on the replay, or maybe we just can't see any of their interactions today. But hashtag replay if you're watching this back, and if you have anything you would like to share with us, we'd love to read your comments and thoughts. I'm going to see you on Monday in Sydney. Very excited for your big keynote presentation coming up. So I will see you in Sydney on Monday. And to all of our viewers, what do you want to say?
Yeah, no, it's going to be good fun. I've been very blessed and lucky that Menarini, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, founded in Venice and still has their head office in Venice, have approached me to be their keynote at their annual conference, which will be held at Sydney. The venue is on Circular Quay, so that's all I'm about to say. It's going to be pretty amazing. They're excited. I'm excited. It's all about purpose, and hopefully I'll be able to not just influence one person, but influence many to awaken their inner compass and find meaning and purpose in changing the health outcomes of people. They have a brand new product they're launching. I'm sworn to secrecy, so you can't get it out of me. I actually don't know much more than that. That's how secret it's been kept. But I know because I'm also, chairman of a hospital in an area that they provide products in, and I've got a little bit of an idea what it might be. Which so I'm really excited the opportunity that they've given me, and I know that there is further opportunity to work with their leadership team and their whole company. They're in the tens of thousands of employees, and they're a very proactive business. Looking deeply at not only how to retain their employees, but also attract new employees. So, being a purpose-driven organisation is part of their agenda for this year, and I'm again very fortunate. So, big shout out to the leadership team at Menarini, and in particular Dr. Victoria Dokic, who's been instrumental in bringing me there. Her and I actually were on a board together that I chaired, so she does have some insight into my lunatism. But we'll look forward to that. And there's a whole bunch of other keynotes coming up this year, and despite that not actually being one of our strategies, it's really playing out, and a lot of that is around my mantra of living with purpose. So hopefully, I get to truly do what I love doing, and that is helping people live their best life in whatever form that might be, Simone. And I think we are very lucky as an organisation that we really are for purpose. And I'm very grateful that I've got, you and the rest of the team who, stand behind that mission. And I think you started off the call, and this is the same way I want to end it. This year is going to be a phenomenal year for those of you that put in the hard work in 2023. Energetically, the universe, the environment, it's going to favour those who didn't take a step back. So, our word for the year is lean into resistance, and that's exactly what we're doing. And it's so wonderful to be able to say that with such conviction. And I certainly hope that anyone that is listening to this last part truly stayed on and heard it, because there's never an upsell here. We're never trying to sell you shit. We've got plenty of work. But if you are a person that that wants to do more, be more, have more, then you probably want to have a chat with Simone and see whether or not we can help you and whether or not we are the right fit for you. We have a container, and in that container there is a lot of masculine, a lot of feminine energy, and we love to play to both strengths. And I think that's what makes us uniquely different to everyone else. And so, particularly big shout out to the momtrepreneurs out there. Don't be worried about working with a alpha male, right? There's a lot of feminine energy here in our container. 80% of our clients are women. So, and I thoroughly love working with women and men. But I really just want to work with action takers. You got an idea and you got a great work ethic. You want to talk to me. Like that's, I want to be surrounded by those types of people, because they're doers. And so that's what you're like, Simone. So that's why I really enjoy being there around you. And yes, I will see you at the venue on Monday. Until then, as we famously say, live with purpose.
See you next week.
Working with Kristian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Kristian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Kristian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Kristian Livolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Kristian. This is just the beginning for us, and I am super pumped to continue growing together. Thanks again, Kristian.